Yeah, very big welcome to you, my dear Virgo. The sun now is in Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is also ruling you. So the sun, which is giving the light to the moon, which is in your sign, is now connected through Mercury to both. And the sun, the extroverted outer, I show myself in the way I communicate, in the way I talk in a relationship, in any relationship. And of course, then also here, Mercury bringing the information, the messenger, Hermes. Right here we have you as the hermit, the inner knowledge, the inner knowing. And so the information through Mercury for both, through the extroverted but also the introverted. The moon is the subconscious and the sun is the higher conscious. It's like here comes a strong message, and Mercury is the messenger of the gods. And so the 6th major arcana and the 9th major arcana, right? There is this combination of a number that when I turn it around, I have a 6 or a 9. And so what's beautiful is when we calculate it together, we get the 15, and the 15 is in the tarot Capricorn, the devil, the attachment, or the cutting off of the source. But here with the 15, we always understand the wheel of fortune, everything is turning and spinning. And the 5 is the Hierophant, or the 5 senses. And when we then calculate it together, we get the third eye, the 6. So the 6 stays. The 9, when we calculate the numbers together, always disappears. The 9 gives itself up to the other numbers. It's always fascinating, right? So when I see here a 6 and the 9, I know I can literally take the 9 away, and the other number is then always left. So magic is coming to you, right? Through language, through the mind, through communication, through signs. And this is what's talking here. The Gemini yoga position is King Pigeon Pose, Eka Pada Raja Kaput Asana. Reaching back into the feet means reaching back into the subconscious, going into the moon, right? And understanding and learning everything so that you can really open your heart. And you have here mountain pose, Tadasana. You are up on the mountain again, knowing what is needed to understand the past and the future in the present moment. And so here you are, knowing what to do, right, by being deep within, connected in the cosmic egg. So this sun and moon right now, right, the court card here in Salvador Dali's tarot is here the Knight of Coins. Very extroverted kind of, right? Usually we have a black horse and he's standing, but here he has one leg up, he has a red flag, and he has all these ideas. And you can see how beautiful really this card is talking to you. Is your birthday between August 13 and September 11, then is this your court card? If not, you can look down below in the description. I have, of course, listed all the cards that I'm using and also the dates. You are, as Virgo, the alchemist. You transform things, right? You bring things into a union. And you also connected to the 6th house of work and routine. We see the moon phases. We see here the flower of life and how you in the center, understanding how everything is interconnected and has a certain rhythm. You love rhythms, you love the same things, right? You very much thrive on that. And so it's important for you to feel safe in a very structured environment. back to the last reading where we had Taurus Sun giving the second Virgo Moon. So you had the second time Taurus giving you the light, and the message was, see the magic unfolding even when the world is brutally changing. And it's like you had here the magician, you had the seer, and you had Aries, right, the emperor. And yes, the world is brutally changing right now, but important is always that we have the magic deep within us, and that's what Mercury is. Mercury is in the tarot the magician. So we're gonna look at Mercury from the perspective of the Gemini and from the perspective of you, Virgo, right? And see what wants Mercury to tell you through these two different energies, because the Lovers is the Knight of Swords, right? And you are the Knight of Pentacles. And so there is the earthiness and the mental aspect that is now pushing you to see things from a new perspective. One more thing, in Salvador Dali's tarot, the Lovers looks like this, right? So you can see the different designs of what the Lovers means. For me, the Lovers is accept the light and the dark deep within you. And also here, right, the masculine and the feminine are coming together in a union. The butterfly, the transformation. It's really beautiful because we always understand more and more how here also the snake is in between. There is an attraction, a sexual energy between these two because they're so opposite, right? It's kind of like, how can they overcome any differences, right, and unite? And so you can see that here Salvador Dali's picture is pretty beautiful in the way of there's a liberation in the sexual act, right? Good. So we begin the reading. We begin the reading with the Court card, right? The Court card, the Knight of Coins, brings you here the Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands is Mars in Leo. And Mars in Leo is to have the courage to overcome any difficulties, right? To see that there is always a light deep within you, because the seven is always the emotional intelligence that we can gain by using the crown chakra. And since you're the sixth zodiac sign, the 6 and the 7 creates the 13. And the 13, the Wheel of Fortune and the Empress, then the 4, right, at the end is left, and the 4 is the Emperor. But remember, the 13 is Scorpio, is a transformation, is also a certain death, of a physical death in your cells, right? Because our body renews itself all the time. And so here the Seven of Wands in the book is saying something very powerful, and I just want to read it to you because, you know, it's sometimes certain words, they do something to us, and I really want you to get the Seven of Wands through Dali. A new level. In the background we see scenes from rural life in the olden days. They represent our life's journey with its many stages. Across these scenes we see 7 wands and 4 arms and hands. Hands and arms symbolize what and how we move things and how we are capable to hold them. Because arms and wands lie across our life's journey, they indicate that we do not have to accept what is being handed to us. We are being encouraged to march to the sound of our own tune, and we are warned not to put up any unnecessary resistance towards life. Now, what's interesting here is also the arms. The body part of Gemini is the shoulder, the arms, and the hands, and she's holding on to him. He is the dark. Usually she is the dark. And you see this triangle, right? When I turn the card around, we get actually the heart shape here between them. But upright, it's a triangle pointing up. And this is the triangle that is saying, I take action. And so you see here that we get things handed down, right? And it's what I wanted you to understand, because when I read it, you really get that feeling. The thin blue figure on the right shows that we all possess roots that reach deep into the earth. See the half circle or spiral underneath the blue figure over here, right? We possess tools that enable us to reach for the stars. See the crutch or pincers that elongate the right hand of the figure. We are on an evolutionary journey. We learn to handle more and more complex tasks and to deal with more diverse energies. The 7 wands represent a ladder with 7 rungs, the Jacob's ladder, which bridges the gap between heaven and earth, between our wishes and reality. So, it's clear, right? Reaching for the stars is something that you might learn here. The light is there, and the 4 is left here as a message. The 4 is the stability. The 4 is always those 4 elements that we can use. And the 5th element is then, of course, air or space, is the love, is the communication, the 5th chakra. And so learn what you can learn through the 7 of Wands, because Mars in Leo is always that kind of like, usually I take that courage really to a next level in a playfulness, right? Because Leo is playfulness. Good. So now we're going to look at Mercury from the Gemini perspective. And Gemini is bringing you, as the first card, we're reading to the left, we're going introverted back to your new moon, the smoky mirror. And the smoky mirror here, as the magician indicates, is giving you a stillness, is giving you a meditation, is giving you the perfect position to find your strength, to see that the smoky mirror is something that you can only observe out of stillness. And so here, the 47, right, we have the 4, the Emperor, which came here as an end result, the learning how to rule and learning how to be empirical. And then the 7 wands. And the 7, again, the emotional intelligence that we need to be able to rule through a smoky mirror, right? And the mirror is always that when I look at the mirror, I see myself. And when I look at another person, I also see myself. And then I calculate the 4 and the 7 together, I get the 11. And the 11 is then the inner teacher appears. The 11 is a portal. And the 1 of the magician creates 3 times the 1. And 3 times the 1 is clear. You're learning something very powerful, because the 3rd chakra is empowering you to understand what the 1 and only is letting you know. This really deep knowledge of the 11 is bringing you to become a spiritual being, right? The 1 is always that kind of like, I get it, I understand it, and for that I use here the understanding of this beautiful card. And so you do whatever it takes to now come into this 7, because there's a 7 and here's a 7. So this is a 7-7 portal. 2 times the 7 means you become creative in the way you understand your crown chakra. So then I wanted to see what the Mother Peace Tarot is saying to the smoky mirror, and the 2 of Swords is coming up. And the 2 of Swords is Moon in Libra. And the Moon in Libra is helping you to stand on one leg. The stork is helping her to stand on one leg and be playful in this infinite understanding of duality. Understanding that the 2 is always like, okay, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do this. Am I saying yes? Am I saying no? The inhale and the exhale. And so the 2, or the moon in Libra, is like the scale, right? The balance that we have to find when we come into the inner teacher. The 11, in a way, is then 2 times the 1, right? And so the 2 is here. But I wanted to see what is Gemini saying, Gemini's deck, and you get the 2 of Cups. Now, this is really interesting. So you have the 2 of Cups, which is the constellation Venus in Cancer. You have Moon in Libra. And so you have a 2-2 portal here. You have 3 times the 1. You have a 7-7. And you have a 4-4 as an end result, right? Of here, the 4 and the 4 that's here. And the 22 is a 4 as well. So you see how everything is really clearly letting you know there are signs, there are messages through Mercury, right? And understand that the 22 is the Fool, because the Fool is the 0, but there are 22 major arcanas. And so the 22 is like, be foolish enough. Don't think about this kind of love. A love that is so deep, that is so powerful, right? You can create magic. And the 22 is after the 11, the next step. The 22 is like 2 times the 2. It's like, I am creative, I am inspirational, I am doing what I feel like doing, and I have the courage to put that out into the world, right? Because you also have the 77, and you have the 4-4, the 44, and double numbers are portals, right? And then 3 times even bigger portal, right? And so you're going up the ladder through the chakras. And so I don't calculate this together, right? We have the 3 times the 1 and the 22. But the message is clear, right? You are seeing now that there is magic. If you believe in it, there is magic. And you can find a partner. Maybe you're looking for a partner, but you need to look at yourself, because the smoky mirror is just that you get the depth of the message, right? Saying, the smoky mirror represents the aspects of what is implied yet cannot be immediately known in the world. The mystery of how things come together and how they fall apart without obvious causality. This symbol also represents the shadow of the human psyche, the parts of the self that one disowns. The smoky mirror can also represent a state of denial, or the inability or refusal to see the truth, right? And so it's clear that here the message to have the courage to cut through the smoke, to cut through the invisible, to know that you can, in the stillness, then become clear in what it is, clear in seeing the 22, right? Seeing that here is a very strong message that is letting you know the 22 is that foolish idea. You want to love? Then love. Just love, and love yourself, because that's what Gemini is saying very clearly. Good. So now we're going to look at Mercury through Virgo's perspective. And so I'm going to keep this card, and now the council is coming, and look at the number, the 11. So you had an 11 here, right? When you unite your emotional intelligence and the leading force deep within you, you get an 11. You have an 11 from Mercury. I mean, this is crazy, right? So see that 4 times the 1, plus, of course, the Magician's 1 up here, 5 times the 1, is giving you a deep level of understanding. Nothing is just happenstance. Everything is like, there are signs from every side that you can think of. And so the council, look at that, she's holding her heart, and the 11 is literally saying, yes, this message is clear, right? The 11, the council, is here to help you to see that this could be the 9/11 or the 11/9, right? The 11th of September or the 9th of November. however you see it, see that date is something that is talking to you. And so I leave it like that, right? Because the 9 is clear, again, giving itself up here for the 11, and the 11 is the 2. And I don't calculate the 11 together to get the 2, because the 11 is the portal of the council, and the council is literally there and saying, yes, when you clear the mirror, then you see who you really are. You can then become a council. You then can become someone very special. And so the Hermit sees that. The Hermit knows that. The Hermit knows that he is connected with the Magician, right? And the Magician and the Hermit, when we put them next to each other, you get a 10. And the 10 is a new start. The 10 is the Wheel of Fortune. And then you get another 1 there. So you see that you have the courage to actually take that step. But I wanted to see what is bringing the Mother Peace Tarot. You get the 2 of Pentacles to the right. And the 2 of Pentacles, again, now you have 3 times the 2, right? You have the 2 of Cups, and you have the 2 of Swords, and now you have the 2 of Pentacles, which is connected with the constellation Jupiter in Capricorn. And Capricorn, again, is here, when we calculate the 6 and the 9 together, we got the 15. And that's Capricorn as a major arcana. That's the devil, that's the attachment. So Capricorn is saying, don't get attached to anything. Now here she is with twins, and these twins are connected through the snake, and the snake is bringing you also the wheel. And so you understand that the wheel is turning to the 7 of Wands. Take actions in the way you see the finances, in the way you play with the money, because you already played with your mind. You know how to stand stable and strong, finding your balance. You also know how it feels to have the 2 of Cups. You also know how it feels to unite the emotional energy and now also the material energy. So 3 times the 2, right? It's like you becoming powerful in the way you see the creativity of life, right? And so 3 times the 2, it's like clear. But here you have the 2nd of November or the 11th of February as a date, right? Because the 9 again disappears, but the 9 and the 2 is an 11 again. So it's like, oh my God, you really get the message. You really get a strong and clear message. But I wanted to see what is your deck saying, and you get the 8 of Swords. And the 8 of Swords here, you can see that you are blocking yourself, because the 8 is that infinite spiral. It's also the strength, right, that we get when we understand how everything is function. I'm just gonna hold them like this. So the 8 of Swords brings you the constellation Jupiter in Gemini. And Jupiter in Gemini, we had here Jupiter in Capricorn, and now Jupiter in Gemini is saying, well, look at how she is looking at the butterfly. You find the liberation by taking care of yourself, right? Here is a castle up in the mind. She is thinking about things that make her want things that are not reachable. But we also need to see, I'm just going to try to figure this out, that you already had 2 swords, so you have 10 swords, and 10 swords is usually the end of a situation. And so here the 2 and the 8 is like, you need to realize that duality is playing with us all the time. Duality, the 2 is always like, well, that's at the end what you need to learn, and the 8 becomes a circle with a twist in it, right? A circle, and when we twist it, we get the 8, the infinite. And so here you're learning that The 8 and the 2 is a 10. The 10 is then again a 1 and a 1, 1. You're learning that the 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 is left, right? Because it's like the 2 and the 9 was an 11. You had the 11, and the 8 and the 2 is also a 10. And so the one and only thought, the one and only action, the one and only emotion is what is important and is what you get the courage for. Amazing, right? So you have 222 and 111 in the Gemini energy, and in your own you have just the 1 that is coming up and teaching you how to work with this love that is now coming through Mercury to you. Beautiful message through Mercury, right? Through the messenger. Okay, now we're gonna look at the moon, because the moon is the next number in the major arcana. We have the 1, the magician, the 9, you, the hermit. Now we go to the 18, the moon. And the moon is bringing you the winter's dream. And the moon is saying, well, the 18 is here through Pisces, that's your opposite sign, that's going to give you the light for your full moon. The 9 again. And here the 63 is the 6, the lovers, and the 3, the empress. And together it's a 9. So you get a 9-9 portal here. And of course, you yourself have a 9, right? And the 9 is the completion. So you are germinating here into a completion. It's almost like Gemini saying, look deep into your subconscious, because that's what the moon is all about. The moon brings you the subconscious, the feelings, right? What feelings are down here, making you coming into a gestation period, right? Where the crystals or these energies are formed, right? When we take time, when we go into a stillness. So there is a little bit of a connection here through the smoky mirror, right? And also through the council. And so there's the 11 and another 11, and here is a 9. So I wanted to see what is bringing you the Mother Peace Tarot, and the Aries, the Priestess of Wands, is coming up, and she's the 1. And what's important is that you see that the one and only is bringing you the message. Now, of course, she's reversed. She usually, when she's upright, with the help of the lion here, she is making it rain so that people are surviving. She's a leader, right? Because she's the 1, and she's the first house of self. I need to learn here in the 9 and the 1 that the 10 again appears. Again, a 1 is left. But I also wanted to see what is the tarot of Salvador Dali, the Hermit tarot, bringing, and you get the 2 of Swords again. So now you have 4 times the 2, right? And particularly you have the 2 of Swords twice, so that you see that Moon in Libra is really letting you know something, right? Libra is again the balance. Libra is you learning to understand that you have to find always your balance in the way you think, in the way you see. How here Dali is bringing you a mystical figure, the bull, and then we get here the 10 and the 2 is the 12. The 12 is the Hangman, or the zodiac sign of Pisces, which is your opposite sign. And then the 3 is left. The 3 is the Empress. The 3 here in the 63, the building, the triangle, building the 1 perspective from where you're looking down into duality, into the 2, into the thinking, into the subconscious, into knowing that everything is constantly giving you a reason why you would go into the emotional intelligence, why you would learn more and more about how the subconscious is leading you towards a new kind of courage to do whatever it is that you need to be doing. Good. Then the last station, which is the Sun, you are getting here through the Sun the magic. And the magic is the 3 and the 4, right? We have the 43. And the magic is by using the two palms. The magic is by knowing the masculine and the feminine, the Empress and the Emperor, right? The duality, the Two of Cups, or the Two of Swords, right? Or the Two of Pentacles to the right, though, right? And again, the Two of Swords. So 4 times, right? The 2 and the 3 of the Empress. It's like the 7, a 7-7 portal appears again. And the 7 was in the smoky mirror, right? And you realize that things are really clearly talking, that you need to unite. You need to find your magic. And the 19, right? The 10, the Wheel of Fortune, and the 9, you is the 10. And the 10 and the 7 is the 17. Is really the star, is Aquarius. Be the star, be a star up in the sky, because the sun is a dwarf star. And the sun that here the Aries is using, the sun, and she's making it rain. She's like, okay, but it was reversed, remember? Understand that you are learning more and more to become the star in the sky, to become like the sun, to become into a higher consciousness. And the 8 is left, and the 8 again is the infinite, is knowing that you can create whatever it is that you want to create, and that yes, the 8 is here in the infinite spiraling of your thoughts, right? But I wanted to see what is coming here through the Mother Peace Tarot, and it's the Strength card, but in this deck it's the 11, the 10 and the 1. The 11 is coming again, and you had the Council, the 11, right? And you had the 11 through the 47, and you are realizing that you really getting a clear message that the 11 here are 12 animals, and she's the 13th, right? And we had the 13, right? When we calculated here the 6 and the 7 together, we had the 13, remember? And so here she is the 13, and she's holding the sun up like she doesn't want to be part of it, but she is the sun, right? Because it's strength, it's Leo, it's the sun ruled, right? Leo is the sun ruled. But since it's reverse, it's kind of like you not realizing your true strength yet, and that's why the hands are coming up and the magic is coming up. You need to unite. You need to unite the masculine and the feminine within you. You need to understand that that's the message, and that you have here the 7, the emotional intelligence. So it's a 7-11 or 11-7 date. But you also had the 8, right? And the 8 then here with the 11 is the 11-8 or the 8-11 as a date. And then of course I wanted to know, what is Gemini bringing through the sun? And it's bringing the star. And look, it's like we're getting here in this picture the close-up. You are holding the 17. You are through the Aquarius, the star. You are seeing that the magic is in the sun, is in holding the sun out there, right? And so the 8 and the 11 is the 19, and the 10 would be left, right? Or we can calculate here the 17, which is the 8, and the 7 is the 15. So here in between these two, don't get attached to what you're learning. Don't hold on to anything. Always understand that everything needs to be liberated. Everything is free. And out of the 15, the 6 appears, and then it's the 6 and the 11. The 11-6 or the 6-11, right, as a date. And so it's so beautiful. You're really getting a strong message. That's why you get this courage. That's why you get the courage, because the 7 is in here, and the 7 is in here, right? And the 7 is in here. And the 7 here, again, is letting you know that you are really awakening to your own power. And the inner teacher is appearing, even though this card is reversed. You are learning to turn it around in time, right? Because you are now going into the courage. So the message is clear, right? You get the 7, and the 8 is the 15. The 15 and the 1 is the 16, which is the Tower. And the 7 is left, the 7, and the 11 is then the last number, the 711 or the 117. Learn that the emotional intelligence is important. Through that, you can bring your courage out and the strength out into the world, and you see that anything is possible because you know that the 7 is the crown chakra, and the 13 is the transformation, and the 4 is left. So become a leader, become someone that leads from the emotional intelligence, that leads through the magic, that leads because he is simply in connection with himself, right? The 1111 and also the 11 here. I mean, it's there's so many beautiful messages here. I'm like, I could continue and continue, right? But also the 4 times the 2, the heart, right? Know that in the heart you feel that duality is challenging us, but through that challenge we learn and grow. And that's the message through Mercury, through Gemini, and through the Hermit, and of course through the Magician, right? So arrive and enjoy and create what it is that you want to create, and have the courage to just go beyond what you think is possible. Go beyond, go into the 8, go into the star, go into the magic, and enjoy it. Wow, this is really a powerful message here. And I hope I see you in the next reading. We got the 7, right? The 7 is, of course, Cancer, the Chariot, the emotional intelligence, the emotional success that we can have in our lives by interacting with people. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.